All right, let's take a look at this 10-speed from 1973. Yeah, this was buried in the back and deepest part of my basement. The Hannibal Lecter Buffalo Bill section. I mean, it was just awful. I'll try to include a picture somewhere. Yeah, mine and my wife's just sitting there since I don't know, maybe 20, 25 years. I mean, the bike is, let's see, 1973. Oh my God, it's like 48 years old. But it's a great bike, and it has a lot of sentimental value. And, this is just a temporary seat. It started off, I was going to sell this and my wife's 10-speed, which we no longer ride, for like $50 each, whatever. I'm not going to do anything. $50, I'm going to just clean it off. That's how it started. It was nasty. It was all dust and just like gray color. I'm going to wash it off. So I'm washing off the bikes, and then I'm looking at it. It's like, it's done. It's not really looking that bad. It's not really showing a lot of rust. The seat that was on it was like this leather seat, and when I went to sit on it, it immediately disintegrated. So anyway, I'm looking on Facebook Marketplace, and I see this. This is a free Stella Italia saddle. So like I go to their website, and their saddles range from $75 to $400 plus. I couldn't believe it. So what I was going to do is I was going to recover this seat because it's ripped. I temporarily put tape on it, and so then it went from that. It's like, well, I'm going to go get that saddle. And man, I put a lot of miles on this bike when I was younger. I mean, a lot of miles. And I started thinking like, geez, my dad bought it for me. I gotta fix it up. Why not? I could have a road bike. The worst part of this bike was the front derailleur, because what would happen is like, it wouldn't shift properly, and so what I would do when I was young and stupid is I would kick it. So I basically broke the front derailleur. And so this is not the original front derailleur. This is just one that I had kicking around, but it's going to work fine. So then from there, it's like all the standard stuff. Service all the bearings. So I started with you can't really tell the bottom. You can't really tell how the bottom bracket is when the crank arms are on. It's like you really can't. I can't anyway, get a feel for it. So it started with fix the front derailleur. It's like, all right, let's take off these crank arms. It's done. So then when I take the cranks off and then I spin the bottom bracket, it's like, oh boy, it's not feeling too good. It's a little rough in there. So let's take that apart. I took it apart, and basically it's all dry in there. All the bearings are in there. I think it originally came with a nylon or plastic bearing cage that was totally disintegrated. So I, serviced that, replaced it with just, bearings, no cage, which they say, like the cage bearing is more convenient, but if you eliminate the cage and put more bearings in there, you get more of surface contact with the balls on the bearing race, and actually, better performance. So it makes it less convenient, because as soon as you take this apart, all the bearings just fall off. It's kind of a strange rear derailleur here. It doesn't have, I'm not really familiar with it. It doesn't have gears. It's just like these guide wheels. I don't know what you call them, but they go inside the chain. And this is like a friction shifter, so everything is it's going to be, pretty simple to put this all back together. I don't have the cable hooked up to the front derailleur yet, so and then we went from there. I'm not going to do anything to the brakes. I might change the pads. The pads are pretty nasty, but they just weren't rusted. This bike wasn't outside; it was inside basically. So I serviced the bottom bracket. I clean and degrease the rear derailleur, replace the front derailleur, And then I also took the headset apart, and again, all loose bearings in there. I re-greased those and all that. In all actuality, I'm going to put it back together the way it was, and I think it's going to be like a brand new bike. It's going to be a brand new bike. The rear wheel, like when if you were going to take a test of the rear wheel and, hold it in your hand and try to spin it, like as you're looking at it right here, it was rough. You could feel like, okay, there's some issues with the bearings in there. And it was just dry. It was dry as a bone, basically. The cassette is made in Italy, and it's got some kind of tool that I don't have. Like I have like the Shimano tools that would remove any type of Shimano cassette, but I don't have that spline tool for that cassette. So, I took the axle out. I serviced the bearings in the wheel, which were, like I said, totally dry. And normally I would take the bearings out of the cassette and service that as well. But a little trick, is also you can just flood that with automatic transmission fluid and let it seep down inside here, and it seems to lubricate what's in there pretty well. Again, all the frame bearings and wheel bearings have been serviced except for the front wheel, which I'll do that tonight. That when you spin it doesn't even feel that bad. So it's not. I'm sure it's a little dry in there, but other than that, I think I'm going to clean it up and put it back together just like the way it is and like the way it was when I was 13 years old. I really remember this bike. I remember going to pick it out. I don't know if it was a birthday present or a Christmas present. I'm not sure. But I remember, picking it out at the bicycle shop, like a couple of towns over from where I lived. And I can't even remember the price. It seemed like, again, we're talking 1973. I think it was like a little over $100, which seemed like a huge amount of money back then, to me anyway. And I remember whatever the gift-giving occasion was, whether it was my birthday or Christmas. I remember my father, I wasn't, when we went to pick it out, I wasn't, we were picking it out. We weren't picking it out so I could bring it home and ride it that day. Okay, finishing up on the Raleigh. Everything's just about dialed in, I think. I'm not so sure about the Stella Italia saddle. It's a tough one because it was a free thing, and it was rather expensive, but it's definitely not the most comfortable. What came on the bike was this Right company, leather saddle, and it wouldn't be that difficult to take this all apart. Like all these rivets come out, and imagine this piece of leather is a certain shape, like this, and then you would put it all back together, put the rivets in, shape it around this wire frame, and then this mechanism here would be used to stretch it as the leather needs to be stretched. This saddle here is what I think I might be going with. I just have to recover it. It's got like a gel insert. It's a little beat up. This bike here, this bike that this came from the woods. I found this bike out in the woods and kind of cannibalized it and took parts off of it. Basically, the handlebars and this stem came from that bike. So yeah, I just repainted the stem. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet. I did buy the material to recover this seat, so I'll probably be going with that. And maybe what I'll do is I'll just leave the right saddle for a future project. It was funny though, when I sat on it, it just freaking disintegrated. It's just 50 years old. But yeah, I think I might play with that later on. And for the time being, the Stella Italia saddle looks so sweet, you know what I'm saying? But it's kind of like maybe it's more for a drop-down bar road bike. I mean, it is not the most comfortable, and it kind of like I'm thinking like, well, geez, I took the drop-down bars off of this to make it a more comfortable bike, which it definitely is. The riding position is definitely different. You know, it's definitely better. Yeah, everything's all good. So shift and sweet. I didn't really spend any money on this bike at all. It seems like the cogs on the cassette were not not worn at all. You know, they're just really looking really good. But I did end up buying a new chain for it, and that made a world of difference. The new front derailleur is working just fine. I mean, it's only it's like, you know, 2 gears up front, 5 in the back, so it doesn't have a lot of work to do. Yeah, I love that feeling when you go through all the bearings, and it's like you know in your mind, wow, all these bearings have been serviced. I trued up the wheels, and so as you're just cruising along, you all that's in your mind, and you think, wow, this thing is like an arrow. This is just so straight, you know. Yeah, I spent my life on this bike for a while, I tell you, and it's funny riding it again. It just brings back those memories. But anyway, yeah, it's been really fun working on this bike. It's the wheels have held up really well. The tires. I mean, I think I like the way I like that look. That it's not like a white wall look, but whatever that is. Yeah. So this is a Raleigh. This is a bike. It's called Triumph on the head badge, but it's made by Raleigh. The Raleigh Bike Company. It's really hard to find examples of this bike on the internet. What I did like was so I thought, okay, I might have to use different brake levers, because the brake levers that were on the drop-down bars, you know, there's kind of like a different attack angle. But you can see how there's like a pin in there and a second pinhole. So like it gives you a different mechanical advantage, a different angle. And all I did to make them, you know, work better on these flat bars is I moved that pin to where they are now. It's a road bike from 1973. It wasn't my first bike. You know, I think I had other 20-inch, you know, high handlebar banana seat bikes when I was growing up, but this was like my first real, you know, good bike when I was a teenager that took me on, you know, until I wasn't riding bikes anymore.